This video sort of covers the basic structure of how the founding fathers actually established the Constitution and set it up. So we've already looked at sort of like the process of making the Constitution, and this is actually going to start looking at these specific ideas that are in the Constitution. So the Constitution begins with the Preamble. This is sort of the famous opening to the Constitution, and it really explains like the main purposes of our government, right? And when you look at the Preamble, you really should see like a bunch of direct references to things we talked about in the Articles of Confederation system. So this is a quick video that sort of in a more sort of like fun form, sort of at least goes over the text of the Preamble.
Hey, do you know about the USA? Do you know about the government? Can you tell me about the Constitution? Hey, learn about the USA. In 1787, I'm told our founding fathers did agree to write a list of principles for keeping people free. The USA was just starting out, a whole brand new country, and so our people spelled it out, the things that we should be. And they put those principles down on paper and called it the Constitution. And it's been helping us run our country ever since then. The first part of the Constitution is called the Preamble and tells what those founding fathers set out to do. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, so that gives you sort of like a little bit of an elementary sing-along kind of way, sort of a quick little overview of like the actual wording of the Preamble. So if you actually look at it, you can sort of see in the actual wording some of the direct references to the article system that we've previously talked about. So for example, it begins with "we the people," which is a brilliant way to start the document because there are only 55 individuals that were included in the writing of this document. But when you say "we the people," it definitely makes it sound like it is a document that benefits most, right? And we talked about before that initially the document is sort of exclusive, right, in terms of who benefits from it. But gradually, as times sort of move on in American history through amendments, more people, women, African Americans, young people, are able to sort of enjoy the benefits provided by sort of this document. So, in order to form a more perfect union, well, if we're forming a more perfect union, we sort of are acknowledging that there was a less perfect union. And that less perfect union is a direct reference to what came before, which is the Articles of Confederation system. Establishing justice. Well, think about it, right? There was no court system, no national court system under the article system. It was just state courts. This would establish a national court system. Ensure domestic tranquility. So domestic means home, tranquility means peace. Think about during the Articles of Confederation time. When do we not have peace at home? Direct reference to events like Shays' Rebellion, right? That this new government is going to sort of provide for peace at home and prevent things like that from happening. Provide for the common defense. Right? Obviously, this new government was going to have a military. That was something that was lacking under the Articles of Confederation system. Promote the general welfare. This is sort of like everything else. It's going to do what's in the best interest of the people. And you could argue that because of the way the Articles of Confederation system was set up, with 9 out of 13 states having to agree to pass a law, the government couldn't do anything to sort of promote the general welfare. Well, now the government would be better able to do this. And then the last part, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Posterity meaning future. So that this government is designed for now and later. And again, sort of a reference to like the amendment process, which is not easy under the new system of government, but it's definitely easier to change than it was under the Articles of Confederation, where 13 out of 13 states had to agree to amend the system. Now you've created a system that can sort of update with the future, because the amendment process is a bit easier. So again, this is the preamble, this is the intro to the Constitution, and it definitely sort of explains the reasons why they're forming a new government and moving on to the Articles of Confederation system. The Constitution itself is divided into what we call articles. Think of them almost like chapters in a book, right? So like we refer to them as articles. So when we reference the Constitution, we talk about Article 1 or Article 2. We're just talking about like what part of the Constitution we're sort of like referencing. So each part of the Constitution, each article has a theme. So for example, Article 1 deals with the legislative branch. It deals with Congress. By far, it is the longest and most detailed of all of the articles. If you sort of like count up the number of words in each article, no doubt this would be like the longest. So that is because they viewed Congress, the founding fathers, as the group of the government that is most likely or was most likely to abuse its power. And was the biggest threat to the people. So they wanted the most rules and regulations and guidance for the group that they thought was like the most dangerous. Article 2 deals with all things involving the executive branch and the president. So all the requirements to be president, everything like that is found in Article 2. So anything dealing with the presidency and the people that work directly under the president will be found in Article 2 of the Constitution. Article 3 deals with the judicial branch. And compared to Article 1, it's the opposite. This is by far the briefest of the three main articles. Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3 spell out like the three branches. So we consider them to be the three main articles. Of the three, the one relating to the national court system is by far the briefest. And that's because they thought that the courts posed the least threat to the citizens and didn't need as many rules and regulations. There's an argument to be made that they got that wrong and that the judicial branch can actually be the most threatening, but the founding fathers didn't see it that way, and that's why Article 3 is so brief. But anything dealing with the Supreme Court or the judicial system can be found in Article 3. Article 4 sort of deals with sort of like all the rules in sort of terms of like the way the states interact with each other. So in order for this government to function properly, the 50 states have to treat each other a certain way and sort of like respect each other. And anything dealing with the rules that sort of guide how the states interact with each other can be found in Article 4. Article 5 outlines the amendment process and how sort of the Constitution can be updated and how changes can be added to the Constitution as we go through time. Article 6 is the Supremacy Clause. Contains the Supremacy Clause. This is simply a brief statement that basically indicates that the national government is supreme to the state governments. So that if ever there is a dispute between the national government and the states, like the states have a law that contradicts something the national government has said, the national government is going to win that sort of dispute because they are supreme to the state governments. And it kind of has to be this way. Otherwise, you're right back to the Articles of Confederation system and like 50 states pulling in 50 different directions. Article 6 is sort of like the cement, the glue that allows the national government to kind of hold the country together. And then Article 7 just sort of spells out the ratification process, the fact that, when the Constitution was originally written, it was written by 55 people, and they wanted to give the states a chance to actually vote on whether they wanted to follow the Constitution. And this is the part that said that like 9 out of the 13 states had to agree for it to become like the new law of the land. So this is the basic setup of the Constitution, and we'll spend the rest of the year sort of like looking at these parts and how they relate to individual parts of the government.